Hey everyone, today we've got something fun to work on. It's a flea market find I got for $5. It is a genuine 1950s Milwaukee model 414 Sawzall. The guy was pretty clear that it did not work and had not worked since sometime in the 1980s, I guess, and it had been in his garage ever since. But as I recall, the model 414 was the very first Sawzall. I think it was something Milwaukee invented, actually. And I'm not really sure what year this is. The Sawzalls came out around 1951 or so, and there were variations of it, and I haven't been able to pinpoint exactly what year this is, but it's probably 51 to 55 or so. I don't know, something like that. So, you know, it's pretty old. It's pretty old. So, what we're going to do is we're going to see if we can get this thing working, and if we can, we're going to clean it all up and make it look as close to new as we can get. So let's get busy. Okay, I've got a power strip here. It's off, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to see what it does when it's plugged in, if it does anything at all, because that's an indicator of what could possibly be wrong with it. Let me get that out of the way. Turn this thing around and plug it in. So I've got these gloves. They have a little bit of rubber insulation on them. I will not be touching it with two hands when I hit the power. We are plugged in, and turn the switch on, and let's see what it does. Sometimes you get lucky. Nothing at all. Okay, I don't hear a hum. Nothing. There's no feel at all when you hit the switch. So my belief would be, let me unplug this thing. My belief would be that it's power related. I mean, it could just be worn out to the point that it's never going to work, but I gotta wonder. That doesn't seem right to me. If it was a burned out motor or the brushes were short or something, you'd think you'd get at least a hum. And interestingly, you know, the power cord here does not look bad. The strain relief could be better, but the power cord's not bad. So it could be in the handle, it could be the switch. I'm not sure how these switches work, but you know, first thing I'm going to do before I work on this is I'm going to take this blade off, because there's no need for me to be dealing with that. Wow, that's a short blade. That's funny. But yeah, there's no need for me to be worrying about getting a finger chopped with that. It looks like it's fairly easy to inspect the power cord all the way in. I just got to take these off, and I should get a look at the switch too. So that sounds like a good first step. Let me get a screwdriver and I'll take it apart. I'm going to be very, very careful here taking this apart, because I don't know how the switch comes together, and I don't want to get in any trouble. If the switch has a spring, which it probably does, and I lose the spring, or the spring pops out and I don't know how to put it back together, it could take me a considerable amount of time to figure it out. It looks to be a mechanical thing. There may be some type of toggle switch in there. I just don't know. But this also gives me a chance to kind of inspect the wiring inside and see if that's maybe causing the problem. It could be a lot of things. So those screws came out so easy, this one does not want to. But if you look at this, it's really kind of nice how they've got this thing made. It looks to me like this is specifically set up. If you have to change your power cord, take these 4 screws out and this piece lifts right up. Look at how nice that is. All right, there is a spring in the switch, but it is an electrical switch. Geez, the power cord looks fine. The strain relief is a little worn, but it's okay. Let's see, make sure none of this is gonna move. Let me grab the camera, I can show you what we're looking at inside. So here's your switch mechanism. It's pretty clean. This whole thing is clean inside. It's really odd. The motor, you know, it's had some use. There is no doubt. But it doesn't look bad. This power cord is not that old. This has been changed. I mean, it's old. But this is not the original power cord by any stretch. The strain leaf may be the original strain relief. I'm wondering if I need to do anything. It doesn't really look like I do. It doesn't look great because it's cracked, but it's fine. It just looks like somebody used a piece of rubber hose there, and they didn't even disconnect this to put it on. They just cut it. Funny. So, you know, looking at everything looks fine. So what I've got here is I've got some electric parts cleaner, and I have a suspicion that it's the switch. I will check the brushes, but while I've got this, I'm just going to put some cleaner in there. This stuff evaporates pretty quickly, so just wash the switch out a little bit. You can see the mechanical nature of it. I gotta put the phone down and spray inside here a little bit better. And you know, I mean, honestly, I think the only thing I'd really want to change outright is this, just because it doesn't look good. I'll spray some cleaner inside the motor. Don't know if that's going to be an issue. Maybe. The motor spins free. Look at, so the motor's not bound up at all. And if you look real close, let me take my glove off here. Hold on. I had to do that so I can zoom in. If you look real close, you can see in there the brushes are fine. They're right up against this thing. So I don't think it's the brushes either. So I don't really even think I need to take those out. I think it's this. It's clearly filthy. So let me work on that a bit, and I'll get back to you. Okay, I've cleaned a lot of this out with electrical cleaner. The switch, I think, is pretty clean. So what I'm going to do, I may be jumping the gun here because maybe I'm only guessing that this clean out will actually fix the problem, but I don't know. It doesn't seem like there's anything really wrong with this other than it's gummed up a little bit. A lot of dirt, I don't know if you can see it, a lot of dirt washed off of this, but the contacts are now cleaner. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get a better strain relief and see if I've got some hose. I may just do what the last person did, use a piece of hose. So I'll be right back. All right, I've cut a piece of hose down. I didn't have this size, so I had to kind of take a guess. They're still a little bit long. That's about the way they had it. I suppose I could have been a little longer than that. So to redo that. All right, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take this hose, which is a little too big, and we're gonna cut it down and make ourselves a new strain relief. Now, another option that I've been thinking of would be just to use shrink tubing. I'd just take the switch apart, slide the stuff over. This is a little more robust than shrink tubing. That's still too big. That is still a little bit too big. Hopefully I don't overcut it. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Maybe just a tiny bit more. That would be a very good strain relief. So here's our part. Question is this going to be too heavy? This is heavy tubing. Certainly it would be easier for me to tie this down with shrink tubing. But you never know. This may work. Loosen this guy up a bit. It worked. So there's an alternate way of a do-it-yourself strain relief. Not ideal, but it'll work. Slide that back in. Certainly cleaner. All right, we should be dried out. It's, you know, I mean, I really didn't do much other than clean it. It did not need wiring, but let's see what happens. I mean, I think it's the switch, and I hope I don't have to replace that switch, because I don't know that I could find something like that easily enough. Probably have to come off of a donor, one of these, and I don't like that idea at all. I like to repair this stuff, not scavenge them for parts. A lot of the gunk is out of here. Not all of it though, but a lot of it. If I had had tubing that was smaller and I didn't have to cut it down to size, I probably would have just done that here. Disconnected the wires and done it. I didn't want to do it with shrink tubing because it's not very thick. It'll work. I've used it. But whereas this had this piece of rubber hose here for a shrink tubing, for a strain relief, or what appears to be rubber hose, it could be that was the strain relief. All right, we're back together. Brushes are tight. It's cleaner inside. Let's plug it in. Can't say my optimism level is high here, because I really didn't do much. But I guess I gotta ask myself, do I feel lucky? Okay, we're plugged in. Well, do you, punk? Are we on? No, now we're on. Whoa! All right. Oh boy. I don't know if you're all familiar with the smell of really old motors that haven't run in a long time. This has it. All right. I didn't even have to change the power cord. So we're gonna, let's move on to cleanup phase. We are unplugged. And what I'm gonna use, my first level of polishing, is I'm gonna use the Chemical Guys heavy metal polish in steel wool, because there's a lot of corrosion on this. There's millions of scratches, and this thing was obviously used quite a bit. The only thing you don't want to hit, you don't want to hit that. These, I can repaint, which I will be doing now that it works. That you don't want to hit. That's a beautiful logo. It's still in great shape. In fact, I can take it off. I just realized that it's held on by 2 small flathead screws. Let's remove it. This will make it easier to polish if I don't have this. Usually these things aren't this easy to come off. It's a bonus. So I can clean right under this. Now it's okay to use like car wax on these, but no polish. The paint on these comes off very easy. All right, we also will get a look. Kind of, oh, there's a serial number or something under here. How interesting. There's a number. 7374544, which is actually the number that's on the tag. How wild is that? In case somebody wanted to swap the tags, I guess. Somebody carved it in. All right, let's see how good we can get this to look. My belief is we can get it to look really good. Always a challenge getting the stuff out of this bottle. What I like about this is how immediate it works. It's so quick. You get to see results on the spot. So we'll just do this piece right here for a bit. And it's polish, it's not wax, so you don't have to wait for it to dry or anything like that. Wipe it off and see what we got with 2 minutes of polishing. Definitely doesn't look like this is going to be one of those bright mirror finishes. Looks more like it's going to be shiny, but a darker metal. But okay, so we're going from this look to that. It's nice and smooth, and that's just one coat. After I steel wool the whole thing, I will polish it with a rag, which should give me a even better finish. Just a little bit more rubbing and it starts coming out. So let's continue, and then I don't know how much of this I'll leave in the video. I don't know how much of this you actually want to watch. But this is a long process, polishing something like this up. Probably take these pieces off and do them separate. They're kind of in the way. If your tool or whatever you're polishing is not heavily corroded like this, just use a rag. Don't use the steel wool. This is for, you know, things like this. A rag's not going to clean that up. It requires some abrasion to do it, and like here, you've really got a baked on type of grease layer, and this will take care of that. Nobody said it's easy. There's a lot of angles and curves and things to this. That takes longer to do all that. All right, it looks significantly better, but we aren't done. We're just done, I think, with the steel wool portion of it. Unless I find other spots where I missed. I'd say a little more time than usual with this stuff, but it's getting there. So next step, I believe, will be rag polish. I'm going to use the same stuff. I'm just not going to use something so abrasive, because steel wool can scratch this stuff too. All right, I'm going to take this shield off and polish this stuff up separate. Easier to work with when it's not on here. So I'm not exactly rubbing dry steel wool on it right now. There's residual polish on it, and I'm just giving it a light brushing, but you see it's bringing more of the chrome back. I'm doing this before I actually rag polish it or use a polishing wheel on it. All right. Overall, it doesn't look bad as it is, but we can get it to look a lot better. All right. On kind of a low speed drill for this, or else this polish will just get all over everything, and nobody wants that. So this old school Stanley that I restored, probably a good choice. Should be. There you go. Still going all over the place. Let's see if we're making progress here with that. A little bit. There is no substitute for elbow grease, as they say. All right, I gotta get a better rag. We got to get this polish off to see how well we're doing. All right, it's coming along. I'm going to do another coat. I don't think you need to sit there and watch me, so I'm going to pause the camera and we'll see how it comes out. All right. So, I think I've polished it enough. It's all depending on how far you want to go. I could spend another 2 hours on it and get a lot more of the finish out. But whereas this will probably still see some use since it's far from at its end of life. The only thing I'm going to do next, I'm going to fix the logos. So I'll be right back. So the lightning bolt and the Milwaukee can easily be brought back with a little paint. But before I paint them, I have to get polish residue out. So I'm using acetone to clean them up. And then I'll mask them off and we'll paint. Masking the lightning bolt should be fairly straightforward. You just have a bunch of lines here. Just have to follow those lines. I need to get close, but not perfect, because I can clean up any missed edges or overspray on the edges with some acetone. Or I could use steel wool, I suppose. Might be a better choice. All right, let me mask up the other side and I'll be back. Okay, I've got it masked up. The only question is, do you think I used enough tape? No, I didn't actually. There's a spot there, right there, that to get some overspray. I was gonna use paper, but to help instead of just using it all with tape, but I had these two rolls that were kind of running low on tape, so I just figured, nah, that's fine. All right, so for the red, we're gonna use Rust-Oleum Red High Performance Enamel. How close to match is it? I don't know. It's just gotta look red. Hopefully my acetone did a good job there. Okay job, not great. Okay, that's one side. I'm gonna give that a few minutes to set, then I'm gonna flip it over and do the other side. All right, it's been several hours. Let's see how we did with our crazy masking job. I don't know where to start, really. See how we did with those lightning bolts. I think I'm gonna probably have to do a little touch up on those. there, not bad. Easy place to fix anyway. Great with overspray, there's almost none. A little bit right there. And a little bit right there. Alright, and so tomorrow, well, I might as well put the badge back on. Tomorrow, we'll take care of the Milwaukee's. Let me look at a picture and make sure I put this badge back on in the right place. Got a little bit more overspray right there. Comes off like nothing. Alright, so the lightning bolts came out pretty good. They need some cleanup around the edges, which I'll do tomorrow after the paint sets. I'm going to bring it in so the paint can sit without all the humidity. And this, I'm going to have to clean up the Milwaukee. But overall, it looks good. I'm going to put the badge on, and we'll see you tomorrow. Okay, I've given it a full day to dry. We really only have one step left, which is the red Milwaukee logos. So, first thing I'm going to do is actually just clean up the edges a little bit, and I think I can just use this little balled up piece of steel wool here. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is, you've probably seen this in some of my other videos, but in this case I'm actually going to kind of mask off a little bit, which is something I don't usually do in this, but this is a very big open area here, and I'm just trying to not rub anywhere I don't need to. So what I'm doing is I'm folding the tape over, because this paint is fairly new. So I'm folding the tape over just so it sits on top of the red without sticking to it. Okay, and so this piece could be over a little bit more. And so now we're gonna do that old trick where we just lightly rub a ball of steel wool, and we start very slowly wearing the paint off the raised area, which is the Milwaukee and the lightning bolt. And this process actually takes quite a long time. It'll take me about 10 minutes of this, and you can see I'm not adding any pressure, but it's already starting to get the paint. It'll take a little bit. Someone may have a better way of doing this. I put a very thick layer of red on this, so this is going to take a while. You can see just now, you're starting to see the letters start to come out from this. It does work. It works really well, but it requires patience. lightning bolt's starting to come out now. Again, I'm just letting the steel wool drag across it. I'm holding it in place. I'm not adding pressure. If you add pressure, it'll go below the upraised letters and it will start going into the paint below them. You don't want that. You just want it kind of dragging across the top. A side benefit from this is by lightly doing this, you actually polish at the same time with the steel wool. You polish the raised letters really, really bright. I'm almost done this guy. Gonna have a little trouble. The M is the hardest part here. I may not be going as far over on that. Most of this is done. I'm just gonna do the rest of the lightning bolt and the M. This is a step, in my opinion, that is well worth doing because it really adds a level of a quality look to these when they're done. You have to have a fairly thick coat of paint on this behind the letters, or else, you know, that'll come off easy as well. Almost. Just a little bit of the lightning bolt and a little bit of the M left. Looks good. Okay, let's take the tape off. Let's have a look. Interesting that the does require a little more rubbing to get that steel wool off. It's still sticking to this paint, which is really weird. The paint's had a full 20 hours, I guess, to dry. And we have Milwaukee. Always works better with the black than with another color. All right, let's mask this guy up. I won't waste your time. And I'll pause the camera here and we'll get back when I'm done the other logo. The blade that I removed, let's see if you can see that, is actually a original Milwaukee blade. Don't know how old it is, but I straightened it out the best I could and cleaned the rust off of it, so we're going to put this blade back on it. Because this tool will not be seeing any heavy amount of use by any means. I'm going to use some 30 weight motor oil and just put it back in here because I did clean out grease and dirt and all that, so it's probably a good idea to get some oil in here again. These things should be oiled regularly. People tell you to oil the blades on these even. Yeah. Fire it up. just a bit on the moving parts. Ooh, that works great. That works great. All right, let me just clean up my oil residue. And we are done. Brought this old girl back to life. I'll use it occasionally, just for the fun of it. Oh, look at that, I got a little bit on the lightning bolt I got to remove, a little red paint. This thing has seen a lot of wear because even around the etchings, it's all chipped up. So you can see there's chips and scratches deep in these edging areas. But looks good. Time for a picture. All right, that's it. This was a really fun project. Just 5 or 6 hours of my time, and that's because I did have to wait for paint to dry and things like that. But really a great project, and it was $5. And the guy, he told me it didn't work, and that was fine. But it's interesting to think that when it was retired, probably 35 years ago, it was retired basically because it was already 35 years old. And so they didn't bother just fixing what was really simple. I just took it apart and sprayed some electrical cleaner in the switch and around the motor contacts, and it fired right up. I didn't bother changing the grease out or anything like that because, to be honest, this will see very limited use as long as I own it anyway. It's mostly going to be for display. But it was really a lot of fun. And, you know, if you like this type of content, you want to see more of it, please like and subscribe. That really helps the channel grow. And, you know, if you come across something like this or an old drill and you're comfortable working on electrical appliances like this or electrical tools, you know, don't be intimidated. You can do it. Just go out, get busy. Take care.